All right, man, we back. Another edition of Draft Blast. Hopefully, I can get to one or two more additional ones before the weekend is up. Hopefully, everybody had a happy 4th of July. And we take you back to the 2003 Detroit Lions draft. And you know who was drafted by was Matt Millen. So let's get into it. Let's go through the picks. First round, it was Charles Rogers. Second round, it was Champ Bailey's brother, Boss Bailey. And then Corey Redding was the third round pick. Artos Penner, I kind of remember him a little bit, running back out of Kentucky, 4th round pick. 5th round pick, Terrence Hawk. Yeah, Torrey Hawk's brother, I think that was. DB out of North Carolina State. James Davis, linebacker out of West Virginia, was a 5th round pick. 6th round pick, David Kirkis, receiver out of Grand Valley State. I can kind of ring a bell now. Now I looked in with the Grand Valley State. Ben Johnson out of Wisconsin. Blue Adams, remember the DB out of Cincinnati, didn't really have much of a career. Brandon Drum out of Colorado was a 7th round pick. The 7th round pick, Travis England out of Memphis. We had, I think, 11 picks, and 4 of them were 7th round picks, 2 5ths, 1 6th, 1 4th, 1 3rd, 1 2nd, 1 1st. And the Charles Rogers pick, let's analyze that pick real quick. Okay, we took Charles Rogers at the top of that year's draft, 2003. We took him over, Carson Palmer went number 1. We took him over Andre Johnson. We took him over Terrence Newman. Byron Leftwich was a notable name. You had Terrell Suggs, Marcus Trufant, Troy Polamalu. You had Calvin Pace, Kyle Bowler. Rex Grossman was in that draft. Willis McGahee out of the U. Dallas Clark was in that draft. Larry Johnson out of Penn State. He had a good career for a man, was in that draft. And I'm going in order. Nick Barnett, linebacker, was in that draft. Nnamdi Asomugha was in that draft. He was the second to last pick in the first round. Oh, Tyler Braden, ain't a name I heard in a while. So, we can just look no further, man. You got 2 Hall of Famers that I'm looking with, a few of them. Andre Johnson, Terrell Suggs, and you have Troy Polamalu that we could have took, man, and we kind of whiff. And Matt Millen, before he had his heart transplant, it was successful. He said he knew that Charles Rogers was a bad pick because it was too close to home, and he had issues, and he just went against the grain and drafted him. And Andre Johnson went the next pick to Houston, and it's crazy, man. But one thing I always remember about Charles Rogers was his first game. It's another guy we're going to talk about later on as we analyze this draft again, was when his first game in Ford Field, we was hosting the Arizona Cardinals. And Charles Rogers went the fuck off. Anquan Boldin went off, man. It was an Anquan Boldin, Charles Rogers show, man. Boldin was a former quarterback out of Florida State. He converted receiver. But they both showed out, man. That's one of the Lions games that stick in my head. Yup. That Lions game stick in my head, and then the one where Jerome Bettis called they messed up the coin flip. I'll never forget that, man. But yeah, man, you have some ballers in the first round this year, man. I don't think anybody's still active though. No, that's 16 years ago. I don't think nobody supposed to be active in this draft, you know what I'm saying? But it was a good first round, man. You go back and look at 2003, man. You're looking at Dallas Clark, Larry Johnson, Willis McGahee had a straight career. Rex Grossman led the Bears to a Super Bowl. They lost though. Nnamdi Asomugha, before he switched from Oakland and Philly, had a really good career. Terrence Newman had a really good career. He was playing, man. He was playing for a minute. I mean, yeah, he retired 2 years ago. Yup. Well, Terrell Suggs is still active. I'm tripping. He's still active. That's crazy. Terrell Suggs still doing it big, man. But the second round, we took Boss Bailey. Boss Bailey, man, was fast as hell. I remember him as a linebacker. He was fast out of Georgia, man. And he ended up with 226 solo tackles, and he ended up with 2 interceptions, 7 sacks, and he played until 2008, so he only had a 5-year career. I think injuries derailed him. He ended up playing with Champ, his brother, in Denver. I think that might have been his last stop. But notable names that went after Boss Bailey was Charles Tillman, I think he'd be a Hall of Famer out of Chicago. He gave Megatron his toughest matchup every time. Rasheed Mathis, who played in Detroit for a minute. Shout out to HBCU, Bethune-Cookman. E.J. Henderson, I remember he was a middle linebacker. Just ring a bell. Who else you had in this draft? You ain't have a ton of them, man. It's crazy. No, I wasn't Bart Scott. I see O.C. Umenyiora was in this draft. He was a sack artist. I like O.C. Who else you have in this draft? That's pretty much it in the first round. I really noticed. So it wasn't a huge miss. Boss Bailey was a super athlete coming out of Georgia. He was a fast linebacker. I don't think it was a bad pick. Looking back at it, obviously it was a bad pick because he only played 5 years, and I think he really didn't do much here. But he was a fast linebacker, man. It just didn't pan out. Shout out to Dre Florence, man, from the 4-6 to Tuskegee, man. Yeah, I ain't see Dre Florence down here, man. Yeah, HBCU. I went to HBCU, Alabama State, so I always like to see other brothers from HBCUs, man. So shout out to Tuskegee, man. They got some underrated football players, man. But the third round, we took Corey Redden, which he started off as a defensive end, and then Marinelli, I think, converted him to the defensive tackle, if y'all remember that. And then, he ended up playing for like the Rams and some other type teams as well. I like Corey Redden, man. He was strong, man. He was the best pick out this draft. He was strong. He played until 2015. He played 188 games. I think that's what it said. And he had a good career. He had 313 solo tackles, 2 interceptions, 35 and a half sacks out of Texas. But who went after him? Lance Briggs. I think he might be going to the Hall of Fame one day, or he might be a fringe guy. Former Bears linebacker. Jason Witten, Hall of Fame tight end who sucked at ESPN in the booth, and now he's still playing. So Jason Witten is probably, he retired last year, but he's still active, so he's still going. Nate Burleson won in his draft. He went to Seattle. I'll never forget it. He went to Minnesota, excuse me. Then he ended up going to Seattle. I didn't know he went to Nevada. Who else we had going in this draft? Derek Dockery. He was a guard out of Texas. BJ Askew. I remember him. He was out of Michigan. He was a fullback. I don't forget Michiganders or U of M. So pretty much that's it. Chris Sims won this draft too. He hit or miss. He sucked, but he hit or miss on Pro Football Football Talk. That's the only football show visual I can tolerate on TV. NFL Network just got whacked. But it wasn't too many hit or misses on here. I mean, I think Corey Redden was one of the better players out this round. So Matt Millen actually kind of got it right. He got it right. That's crazy. He did, man. He got it right, man. But then we took Artonis Penner out of Kentucky in the 4th round. And Artonis Penner, he had 39 catches, 308 yards, and he also had 250 rush attempts, and 858 rushing yards. So he only played 4 years in the NFL. He retired in 2007. He came in the league at 25. He was out of Kentucky. And, we've been searching for that replacement for Barry Sanders. And it seemed like when we were searching for the replacement for Barry Sanders, it didn't seem like it was going to be that bad because we had got James Stewart from Jacksonville. And he came in. I think he had 1,000 yards his first year. And after that, it was just, just running back after running back circus. We thought we had it in Kevin Jones. He ended up, he just didn't know how to avoid contact and take care of himself. Kevin Smith, and we just couldn't figure it out, man. And obviously, Artonis Penner out of Kentucky was the answer. Now, is there anybody of note that went in this round? Let's see, Seneca Wallace. Seneca Wallace, man. Asante Samuels, he won this round. Yep, he got drafted by that New England? Yeah, New England, I think it is. Asante Samuels. Ike Taylor won this round. Yep, Ike Taylor was a really good DB for Pittsburgh. Samuels last played in 2013. Ike Taylor last played in 2014. But those were the only two notable guys that I can notice that went in this 4th round, man. We definitely could have used Asante Samuels or Ike Taylor. But a lot of times, man, when you don't see teams pick certain guys, it don't be system fit. So a lot of guys say, "Oh, this guy's system guy." Yeah, everybody's system guy. If you ain't in the right system, if you a power back and they got you running sweeps, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course you're not gonna fit the system. They not doing what's good for you. Second round to the DB out of North Carolina State, Terrence Hart. It's Torrey Hart's brother, I believe it is. He ended up having 187 solo tackles, 8 interceptions, and 0.5 sacks. Yep. And I remember him vaguely. Yeah, vaguely, man. But hey, you know, it is what it is. But in that round, we missed out on Robert Mathis, who may be a Hall of Famer. He had 123 sacks, all with the Indianapolis Colts, I believe. And is anybody else that I do notice here? Really not. Robert Mathis was a dominant rough in the 5th round. Yep, Robert Mathis. And I believe he went to Hampton, didn't he? Alabama A&M, our rival. So another HBCU. You better learn to take these HBCU guys in the middle rounds, man, because it's a ton of them when I go back and look, man. But, yeah, man, other than that, our draft was rounded out by, let me see if there's anybody of note here. David Kirkus, receiver out of 6th round out of Grand Valley State. Shout out to Grand Valley State. But other than that, I don't see anybody of note in the 6th round that I can remember off rip. Cato June was there, a linebacker out of Michigan who ended up having a pretty solid career, 351 tackles, solo tackles, 12 sacks, I think it was. So Cato June, you know, Indianapolis coach. So shout out to University of Michigan. We up in here a couple of times. But pretty much, yeah, that's about it. In the 6th round, you go to the 7th round, we have several picks there. Ben Johnson, Blue Adams, I remember him out of Cincinnati, and we had Clint Mitchell. Not Clint Mitchell, excuse me, that's not us. We had Brandon Durham, and we had Travis England. But other than that, I don't. It ain't too many other people in the 7th round that's notable, man. It's hard to really pick guys late in this draft like that, man. But, you know, overall, get my rest of my synopsis on this draft. It was terrible. Corey Redden was the best pick. And that's just what it was. Corey Redden was a good pick in the 3rd round. And the rest of the draft just absolutely was garbage. And that was the thing, man. This is the reason why, even to this day, that we really still have to be conservative and rebuild our depth, because you can't go out there and get the flashy players. A great team has great depth, and that's why you see a draft like this year with Bob Quinn had, because we've been drafting bad since 2000 at the bare minimum, and as we continue to go through these early 2000 draft classes, man, it ain't looking good, man. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Appreciate it. I'll be back with at least 1 or 2 more before we get to next Monday. Hopefully everybody have a safe weekend. Don't forget we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Reach out to the email. You have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video question. Check out the channel, Goodfellas Sports TV, for more music, entertainment, sports, and a ton more. And appreciate the love and support, man. Share the videos. Want to make a donation? That link's always there. One time for the one time. Motor City Sports Talk. And